Number one, set the ground rules about what you get yourself involved with. So as a manager, because your title is manager or director, that doesn't mean you have to manage every little thing that's going on. As a matter of fact, if you do, you're a micromanager, and that's not a good thing. That is a bad thing. People can manage far fewer things and manage less often than they do. So if you are the manager, it's taken for granted that you have the power. You have a lot of power because you're the manager over other people. So you don't have to constantly exert it by holding meetings every second day to remind people that you're the boss and you can hold a meeting. You only hold a meeting because there's something important, one issue to be dealt with. For instance, not a whole shopping list of things that keep people in a meeting for 2 hours. Be respectful of time. Maximize, if you're managing the strategy as your number one thing. You're making sure that all your team is delivering fundraising in a way that works for donors and that adheres to the 3 principal things that they need. And that needs to be managed. And you're managing reaching the goal. That's your job. So if you're managing the strategy, then everyone is constantly reminded that theirs is the collective and individual goal that needs to be reached as well. Second, when you do inject yourself into the direct management of staff, focus almost all your time on your best performers. And that is the opposite of what almost every manager does. If you focus your time and energy on your weakest performers, you will move them from underperforming to barely acceptable, which is not the name of the game, especially in fundraising. If you focus the same amount of time on your top performers, you'll move them from excellent to phenomenal. At excellent, they're already bringing in a lot of money. At phenomenal, they'll probably triple it. And that's the way it goes. And it also sends a message to everyone on the team that if you want my valuable time, if you want my attention, if you want my mentoring and my endorsement and my support, then you'd better be bringing your A game to the table, because you don't get it if you're at the bottom end of productivity. As a matter of fact, I'll be spending time in my own office looking for ways to sort of set you aside into somebody else's department, So that's it's not an innovation. It seems obvious as soon as you hear it, but it's not generally the way managers work. Another one is let your staff go or kick them out at 5 o'clock, and then kick yourself out right after it. Because in all the research we did on overtime and work capacity, people don't do a good job after 8 hours of continuous work. And productivity drops severely in the 9th hour and severely again in the 10th hour. And if your staff are lagging well beyond 5 o'clock or beyond an 8-hour day, because I'm very much in favor of flexible work hours and working from home and all those things as well, then if it's chronic, then you are not bringing an A game or allowing an A game to come to the table the next day. A staff is congregating the next morning, who don't want to be there because they're tired and they know they're going to face, God knows, endless hours before they get to go home that night again. And they're working at subpar level. And in the hours in the day, which are the most valuable, which are the morning hours, even if people insist I'm not a morning person, people's brains are the most active and most productive in the AM, and then they deteriorate gradually over the afternoon. It's just the way the world works. Then don't mess it up by allowing someone who's exhausted to come in and waste those hours, and definitely don't hold meetings in those hours. Or ask your staff to fill out reporting forms in those hours. Let them get the job done.